Hello, hey everybody. Welcome to Agog House and our July Community Meetup about grant making. This beautiful space, Agog House, please take a minute to take it in, was built by Shushu, who's right here, and Nico, under the guidance of Mike Salmon, also known as Manglebird, who is raging at a festival today and can't be with us right now. But Lori, who is somewhere around here, is stepping in. Thank you, Lori. Lori's also the brains behind our camera system and making these events look wonderful on YouTube, and our recordings look great. I'm Amy. I'm Agog's Chief of Programs and Strategy. I'm pretty excited about my new avatar. I don't know if you all have had a chance to check it out. See what my hair does when I do this. This was designed by Egg, otherwise known as Akimbot, who's over here. If you want to stand up, he's also modeling another one of the avatars we've been working on. And he's got a design studio. I highly recommend him if you're looking for a new avatar, but you'll see other Agog avatars roll out over the next few months. Before we dive in, wanted to share a few pieces of news. We're very excited that Impulse, Playing with Reality, has been nominated for an Emmy. We supported that project through an impact campaign, and we're very excited to be nominated for our first Emmy. Side note, I am the Susan Lucci of VR Emmys and have not won 3 Emmys so far, so best of luck to Impulse on that account. Also, we are headed to Venice Immersive and then to Climate Week in New York. So if any of you have plans to be there, please hit us up on Discord. We want to get involved in any and all events at both places. And speaking of Venice, our next meetup is going to be August 21st with Venice Immersive curators Liz Rosenthal and Michelle Rilak. And it's going to be moderated by Now Here's Gayatri Parmeswaran. So stay tuned for that registration link, but we're really excited to have a Venice preview as well. And we also invite any of you or our community members to host your own events in this space. Reach out to Vanessa over here, the giant mushroom. She is our head of community, and we'll be talking about her role in a little bit, but she is a person to talk to if you want to have an event here in the house. A few other things before we get started. We're here to talk about Agog's grant making and how we think about it. And we want to be as transparent as possible about our process, but want to be clear, this is not a pitch session for you all. If you have an individual pitch or you think we should be working with you or something like that, I think that's a different discussion and not for now. So please ask us questions about the process. We're also going to have time, a little bit of time after the session where we can talk to folks individually, or we can connect on Discord or something like that. And then beyond that, I just wanted to be super clear that we're honestly not really ready for this session. We're a brand new organization. We're still figuring out how we focus our energy and where we focus our grants, but we've heard from you all that you would love to hear a little bit about our philosophy, and we're going to take our best stab at it. So please be patient. We may not have all the answers, but we really are trying our best to serve this community and be as clear as possible about what we're going to do. So here's how today's going to go. I'm going to be quiet for a minute. Jasmin's going to come on stage and give a short presentation about our current grant making process and our philosophy. Then we're going to take some questions from people here, from people on the YouTube stream. If you've got a question and you're on the YouTube stream, type it in chat and we'll get it relayed into here. And then we'll intersperse them with questions we got in advance because a bunch of people sent them even before this event happened. And then we'll have 10 or 15 minutes at the end to have people hang out and talk to each other, talk to us, get to know each other. We do want to make space for community, and you can hang out here as long as you want after that. In a second, I'm going to ask you all to please mute your microphones so that we don't get any excess noise. But right now, please welcome the amazing and talented Jasmin Askew onto the stage to talk about grant making. Jasmin!
Hi. Oh, I did it.
Also, Jasmin is weirdly, we haven't figured out why, but she may wink at you, and she's probably not flirting, but we're not sure.
If you're lucky, you'll get a wink.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I am super excited to be here with all of you in Agog House and those of you on the YouTube stream and watching the recording. As Amy mentioned, I'm Jasmin, and I am Agog's programs manager. I've been with Agog since July of this year. Some of you may know me from my previous role at Unity for Humanity, but I'm really excited to be here today and talk to you about our grant making approach and a little overview of Agog overall. So let's get started. The next slide. So first things first, Agog. What is Agog? What do we do? So we're a philanthropic organization formally launched at South by Southwest in 2024. So literally just about 18 months old. We are philanthropic in nature and really inspired by immersive storytelling. So we're organized to support immersive storytelling creators, future creators. That includes nonprofit organizations and also the ecosystem at large. We want to make sure that we're supporting the current talent making in this space, also bringing more people in and making sure that there's this thriving system around you all. Next slide. And how are we doing that? So right now we're currently focusing our work in 3 streams. That's connecting, convene, support, and then learn and share. So support is where we'll spend a little bit of time today. That's the stream that my work falls in. But we've got really 3 sort of focus areas of how we're thinking about supporting this community. So connect and convene, that really is events like this. It's bringing together existing XR creatives, future XR creatives, nonprofits, anybody in a social impact space or who's interested in immersive technology to be able to join events, collaborate, share ideas. It's also supporting external events like South by Southwest, like Tribeca Immersive, bringing people together to really be able to build the future that we would all like to see. Support, our middle stream, is really around equipping both current and future creatives. It's empowering you with funding, with technical support, with marketing support, and other resources that will really help to accelerate the work that you do. And then learning and sharing. So this is a combination of supporting existing XR research, supporting the development of new research, whether that's into tools and systems that support this community, whether it's into navigating the effectiveness of impact XR work. And really making sure not only that we are learning as an organization and supporting researchers in the space, but also helping that work be built and seen and disseminated. So, next slide. All right, support. So this is what you all have come here for today. I'm going to overview a little bit of how we're currently approaching grant making. As Amy mentioned, this is not the only thing we do or the main thing we do, but this is how we're sort of currently thinking about it now. So we are supporting immersive storytelling projects. The way that we're defining that currently is AR, VR, and mixed reality experiences. But that can also include, what you'll notice from the previous slides, is that our streams of work also impact our streams of grant making. So that also includes research initiatives, open source tools, distribution platforms, things that help work be seen and shared. And our focus is really around anything that helps build human connection, build empathy, and build a better tomorrow. Our funding is primarily to 501c3 nonprofit organizations. For non-US projects, there are ways to do equivalency determinations with like social enterprises and other organizations, but primarily funding is best supported to a 501c3 organization. That can also be done through a fiscal sponsor. And these are things that we can help you with navigating throughout the grant making process. Our grants are to project-specific support. What that means is primarily, again, rather than giving general operating funding to just, support an institution or an organization, it's for a specific purpose, whether that's a specific project, a part of a project, or a very specific initiative that your organization is working on, or you as an individual. Next slide. These are our 3 focus areas. So as I mentioned, overall, we're looking at things that are building human connection, building empathy, and creating impact. The 3 topical areas that are specifically important to us are climate, Indigenous knowledge, and human rights. Climate is anything that's helping us build a better climate future. So whether it's looking at food systems, things that improve land, things that improve or reimagine even the systems and the utilization of the natural resources of today. Indigenous knowledge is anything that is supporting Indigenous people's self-determination or the use of ancestral knowledge, particularly for the planet and for future generations. And then human rights, we all know what that means, but anything that is helping local communities live dignified livelihoods are our 3 core focus areas. Next slide. Now we'll dive into a little bit of a grantee spotlight to try and also showcase what examples of what we mean by how those focus areas and that criteria is applied. So first is Fragile Home. Fragile Home is a project that actually just premiered at Tribeca, which many of you may have seen. It is a VR experience that puts you into it creates a home of someone who has experienced war. Just to understand the idea of home itself and reconsider it. We supported the creation of a Quest version, which was shorter and helped to make the experience more accessible from the initial installation experience. Next slide. This is an example that is similar to our connecting convening pillar that we talked about earlier. So we supported specifically MIT's Worlding Lab, which was a convening of creatives and thinkers who built together different solutions and tools related to climate and climate change and the climate crisis. We specifically supported Indigenous creatives being able to come to this experience and collaborate because we really believed in that sort of co-creation that they do at MIT and in having this inclusive group of people able to build solutions for a climate future. Next slide. Anagram, which Amy mentioned earlier. So we supported an impact campaign that Impulse did. This is just an example of another type of funding that we did. So you've seen project-specific support to make an experience more accessible, support for connecting convening, and this is another example of supporting an impact campaign around an experience that showed people what it's like to have ADHD. And the impact campaign that we supported specifically was targeted towards youth to really raise mental health awareness and more empathy and understanding. Next slide. And this is the last grantee spotlight, just to give another example of a type of initiative that we've supported. So Whose Future was an actual storytelling lab that taught youth at the Boys and Girls Clubs of Harlem how to create different XR experiences. And so it's an example of really supporting emerging creativity and furthering and building the overall field. So just an example of another type of grant that we've given in the past. Next slide. And now what are we hoping to see? So across the board, all of the things that I've described today, we are hoping to see more of. These are some areas that we are especially looking for, some gaps that we've seen in our current grant portfolio. So we'd love to see more Agog experiences, things that, inspire that wonder, that awe, that connection. We would also love to see more climate experiences. We obviously want to see a future world that we can all live in, and that really starts with our climate solutions. And so we'd love to see more immersive climate experiences. And then we'd also like to see things that are expanding access, whether they are reviving previous pieces of XR work, pulling them into new platforms to maybe make them more accessible, potentially converting work. Maybe there's a film that can be turned into an installation or an XR piece, or something that can even bring an experience into a wider audience, maybe showcasing something at libraries or somewhere more publicly accessible. So like with that impact campaign we talked about earlier, this is kind of a big bucket of things, but it's just a real area of opportunity that we see and just would love to see more work in across the board. Next slide. And now the main question that you all are here for today is, how do you get involved? How do you share your ideas and the work and what you're doing? It's really just to connect with us. So join our Discord channel. Attending events like this is amazing as well. But through our Discord channel, you'll be able to connect with our team. We're working out a process now where you'll be able to share your proposals or your, collaboration and partnership opportunities. But this really is the path to connect with our team right now, is joining Discord. And then also there's a link for Linktree where you'll be able to see when we're having world hops or community meetups in here, or other events that are upcoming, and just also links to our other relevant opportunities to connect with our team. And now we'll take more questions. So I'm actually going to invite, I think, Vanessa to the stage, as well as Amy when she's back. And we are going to take some more questions on the ones that you all submitted and in the room. Vanessa?
Oh, hi, thank you. So yeah, you can go ahead. Why don't we start with a question from in the room? So Jasmin, why don't you see who's got a raised hand?
Yeah, it's just his first time in VRChat. I've been in VR and XR for a long time, and you guys are my first crowd of people in VRChat. It's very cool.
Welcome.
My name is Spencer Lindsay, and I run a interactive agency called eTribe in Portland. And we did a thing for the Winter Light Festival that had to do with tracking the audience's attention, their eyes, and wherever they looked on a rear projected screen, we're saving the ecosystem from otter hunting. Anyways, long story. Is a keystone species piece about giant kelp and otters. And it's not in VR, but it is interactive. Would that be something that would be interesting to Agog to maybe put forward?
I think it's definitely something we can talk about. I think you can share your ideas on the Discord channel, and then we can kind of take it from there. Welcome back.
Hey,
Cool,
thanks. I crashed.
I'm back.
No worries. And I think we're going to try, and since there were so many questions that we received in advance, and I know there's a lot of people online, we're going to try and not do individual proposal questions right now, but I promise you, if you share them on Discord, that'll be the best approach for us to be able to navigate all of those individual reviews.
We'll also, I don't know if you covered this while I was on my journey, but we're developing some forms right now and some input processes so that people can submit proposals and we can take a look at them.
Yeah. Vanessa, do you have any?
Yeah, we can actually go, because like you said, we got actually so many great questions that came in through the registration form. So I'll choose one of those. There were actually quite a few questions around like the stages of projects. And if you could just dive a little bit more into that. And if if Agog is looking for projects that already have funding, or if we're first in, or if you could give a little more context around that.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I did see a few of those. So we don't have a set requirement or standard on either the stage that the project is in or the stage that you're at funding wise. We don't mind being first one in. We don't mind being you already have a fully developed prototype or you don't. As you'll notice also in those previous grants that were highlighted, some of them were impact campaigns of immersive experiences that were already fully built. Some of them were we were part of the process development, that initial like seed funding to build an MVP. So there's not a standard requirement or threshold there. And there's also not a standard funding requirement either. We will ask about if you have other funding, what your overall budget is, and if you have plans to close budget gaps, obviously, but it's more so just so we understand other ways that we can support and help you than a standard requirement across the board.
I think I'll say that we all also are really excited when there are other partners on a project and we know that there are other places, not only that you're maybe getting funding, but getting support or exposure or something like that. It's just nice to know that there's a group behind a project versus it kind of trying to flag on its own.
I'll bring a question from our YouTube now because we're getting a bunch coming in. So there are some questions around if you could talk about funding non-US projects and how you partner with folks from afar.
Yeah, so we can fund projects that aren't based in the US. It would still require, or ideally, a collaboration with a nonprofit entity. It can be a non-US based nonprofit, but there are a couple of different ways that our grants administration team can figure out that process. Oh, did not ask it to jump. Sorry about that. So we have funded, as you saw, Anagram. There are a few organizations even in the spotlight that aren't US based. So whether it's through a fiscal sponsor, whether it's through an international nonprofit, each case by case is different, but that's something that we'll partner on with all of our individual grantees. So it doesn't matter if you're not US based.
Did somebody in the audience? I thought I saw a hand a second ago.
So I basically the way we propose is through Discord, right? It's not like open call based.
Yeah, through Discord.
Yeah, we intend to have some kind of probably targeted open call next year, and we'll announce that soon, as soon as we can figure out how we're doing it and have enough people to actually read all the stuff that comes in through that open call. But in the short term, get in touch with us on the Discord and then we'll tell you how to go from there.
Okay, got it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
May I ask one question?
Sure, Shushu.
Thank you. Regarding the storytelling projects, if it's an artistic project is based on storytelling, so it's some kind of animation, it still has to be related to the focus areas?
I think we'd like it to be. I think, it's on a per case basis. I think if we feel like it's doing something different for our field than we've seen elsewhere, we may make an exception. And you probably noticed that, like, impulse is not necessarily in our focus areas. It's focused on mental health, which is sort of sideways from some of that. You could argue that it's it, but what they were trying to do with the technology was really different from what we've seen before. And it was an impact campaign, which we really wanted to see some more of. So we did that. But we'd be happy to see it.
Thank you.
I think the other thing we want to say is we're already getting more proposals than we could possibly fund. And so something may check every single box, and it might still not be the best thing in our mind, checking all those boxes. So we obviously have a limited budget. One of the things we want to be doing in the future is finding other foundations like ours so that there's just a bigger pot and we could be working with those foundations. If there's 5 or 10 of us, then I think we're really moving the needle in our field. So
are there some specifications of somewhere how to apply, how to prepare a concept?
No, not yet.
Okay, thank you.
But I would encourage anybody not to spend that long on it. Just give us, a couple of paragraphs and we'll be happy to respond. And if we need more, we can tell you. But as somebody who's been taking pitches in this field for a lot of years, I feel really bad for people who have spent 20 hours on a proposal that may not be what we're looking for.
Good point. Thank you.
Do we want to take one more from the YouTube? We're still getting the stream. Yeah, that would be
I don't think you need the God mic, Vanessa, unless you're really power.
It is. It does make me feel very important. I'll put it away.
Okay, well then you are. Do it.
I'm just joking. So we've got some great questions here. One about, does WebXR count as VRXR storytelling? And I think you covered it in the deck, but if you want to just reiterate,
actually, Vanessa, it might be good for you to use the God mic because we can't hear you as well over here.
Sorry.
Oh, yes. Oh, okay. There was a question about WebXR. If, we would fund WebXR projects, and if you want to talk about that.
Yes, we would.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
We would happily fund.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Amazing.
We're excited about WebXR and how that we could be supporting work that is not platform specific and more accessible to more devices. So yeah, absolutely. Please.
Right. I'll go to one more from the YouTube. There's a question about how somebody who works very closely in local politics and who has noticed that the people who need to be convinced about things are reticent to go to immersive art exhibitions or festivals, and they're wondering if we are supporting strategies to reach those people, and for instance, around climate solutions.
I think that's why we're hoping to see interesting distribution campaigns and models. We're hoping that, somebody's going to show their climate experiences at Coachella or at the local library or somewhere else that is going to reach people who may not already be in this world and in this space. I think we're definitely excited about the opportunity of expanding, access, especially to whether it's an installation or it's a pop-up event at, non-traditional like festivals and events.
Yeah, and that's a big part of why we are going to be at Climate Week this year as well, because we want to be reaching changemakers. And Jasmin didn't go too deeply into this, but one of Agog's main kind of desires is to be partnering with nonprofit organizations and changemakers in order to help them use these tools. So that's a big part of what we're thinking is we all know that if you've spent any time in these technologies, I'm guessing most people in this room have since you're in an avatar and all, but we all know that it's very different being inside a story versus hearing about a story. We think that will really change a lot of minds.
There are also quite a few questions just around the grant cycles and funding amounts. I think you already covered some of it in the document, but we're getting quite a few, so maybe just speak to that.
It cut out a little bit for me. Sorry.
About grant cycles and grant dollar amounts, I think.
Dollar amounts? Yeah.
Mhm.
So most of our grants range from 30,000 US to about 100,000 US. And grant cycles, I would say there isn't a set cycle or deadline since there isn't an open call at this point in time. So really the best thing to do is to, connect with us on Discord and share your work. And then we'll go from there, figuring out how it fits into our funding strategy or when and when I should say, actually.
Are there other questions in the room? We're going to probably have room for another 2 to 3 questions at this point.
Hello, I have a question again.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Would you mind share more about the impact campaign you did for Impulse? Because I really love that project, and I'm also working on some mental health related VR project as well. So would love to know more.
Sure. We didn't do the impact campaign. We merely funded it, but what they did is get the project into schools so that students could see what their peers who might be on the ADHD spectrum might be experiencing, as well as show it to teachers and parents in order to create empathy for folks who they knew or loved and wanted to understand better.
Okay, got it. So it's more like connect with schools and also some mental health institute as well.
It was, I mean, that whole campaign was structured with advice from mental health organizations in the UK. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
So I'll take one more from the YouTube here. There is a question, and this actually came in through the pre-submitted questions as well, around whether Agog will fund social enterprises that are not 501c3.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we can definitely connect when we decide to make a grant to someone and figure out what's the best path for funding, whether it's a social enterprise, whether it's a 501c3 grant, whether it's an international organization. And it's just something that we have to determine on a case-by-case basis, what the path forward is.
I do want to say that, and I think Jasmin touched on this, but grant making is only a small part of what Agog is doing. So we do have the ability to sponsor events, which is not necessarily a grant. Mm-hmm. We do have the ability to hire somebody as a consultant, like we did with Egg, to help us with avatars. That wasn't a grant. Vanessa over here, the giant mushroom, is building community and creating ways to bring new folks into it, like sort of what people are talking about with policymakers or climate activists or whatever other groups that we don't see so much in this field. But we are committed to all 3 of those pillars that she talked about, and grant making is a small fraction of that, but it seems to be the thing that people keep asking us about, and that's why we're doing this now.
Let's just see the time. So we can take 1 or 2 more questions max. Anything else in the room?
No. I like Vertex Shader's avatar a lot.
Oh, thank you. Amy, it's Samir from a long time ago. So hi, from MIT Hacks. Hello.
Nice.
Hey.
Yeah.
Could we, I think from the pre-submitted questions as well, if you could I think there were some questions around do we fund research as well, and different kind of formats of things. So yeah, if you want to talk.
I think we're actually really excited to fund some research, especially around the idea of this impact and this work, and proving that it's impactful. Mary, are you here? Yeah, Mary's over here, and she's been sort of somewhat leading the charge. She's our newest Agog employee, in case you didn't know that. But she's been looking into doing some of that work. And it may or may not be a grant, but we're happy to think about that kind of stuff as well. Also, someone asked about domes, and yeah, we're all for thinking about domes. Dome us.
All right. Anyone else in the room? Last chance for a live question. Do we see a raised hand?
No. Bueller?
Oh, hang
on one.
You have a question?
Akeem Bot has a question.
I don't have a question. I just didn't want to interrupt you. I just wanted to say thank you for all your kind words. Like, I really appreciate it. And it was an honor working with you guys. Like, yeah.
Nice.
You're amazing, Egg. Have you guys seen my hair?
It's a beautiful avatar.
Thank you so much. Well, if we don't have anything else, we can just all hang out for a little bit and get to know each other, and hopefully see you all on the 21st, where we talk about Venice. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks.
Appreciate
Bye.
you all hanging out with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Jasmine.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you, Jasmine and
Thank
Amy
you.
and Vanessa.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wadua.
Oh.
Thanks, Mary.
I love your hair,
Thanks,
by the way.
Jasmine.
Thanks, everyone.